Well, we're jumping into our main topic this week where we're going to be breaking down movies that were released in 1985 and we're going to be ranking them. And again, this is our opinion where we think they fit on the ranking scale. It's from S to D. And we haven't seen all the movies on the list. Combined, we have, yes, but there's some that maybe Keith saw and I didn't see, and vice
Mhm,
versa. And another fun fact is these movies are on their 40th anniversary. So if you haven't seen them, maybe now's the time to check them out. I did go through and we made a playlist. If you guys want on the Weekly Warpipe YouTube channel, if you go to playlists, I made a playlist of all the movie trailers. It'll just be like 1985 movies, and you can watch all the trailers of these movies and maybe pick out some that you're like, hey, maybe I want to check out this movie. And it seems pretty good. But we'll give you our opinions here where we think they rank, and we are using um, Tier Maker website where we got all the movie posters down here, and we
mhm.
can just put them into our ranking list. We'll see where it all ends up.
Now, we should also add that there are a ton of movies that did come out in '85 that should be on this list, but because of timing and whether or not some of us have seen the movie, I narrowed it down to 20 movies after talking with Russ and Keith, and we're gonna do our best to kind of combine our forces, so to speak, and just do the best we can with rating these 20 movies. And then maybe at the end, we'll tell you some honorable mentions of other movies that were released so you can check out.
Right, right. And we'll also have our comments as well from Instagram, YouTube, and whatnot, what you guys thought of some of these movies. We just kind of did a generic post with a couple posters, and
Mhm.
we'll be curious what you said on there. So we'll get right into it here.
Cool.
Do you have the list in a particular order? I guess you're going to go with.
There is no particular order. We could just kind of dive right into it. Um, I mean, we don't have all the box art, right, to show you guys. So the best way to do this is we'll explain the movie. And I don't know if you guys could see the little movie posters down here, if you're watching, that is. So we'll do our best to describe the movie and kind of talk about it through there. So should we just start at the first one at the beginning and go through?
Yeah,
How's
just
that
how it's
sound?
Yeah.
listed out here. That works for
Yep.
us.
Do it.
Cool. So we're going to start with the iconic Back to the Future, the original, the originator, 1985. We all know that Marty McFly, it takes place in 1985. He goes back in time to 1955 I mean, you know what? I'm going to defer this to Russ because I know that Russ, this is his all time favorite. I think I already know where this is going, but Russ, he's got the flux capacitor fluxing. So, Russ, why don't you take it away and you take Back to the Future here?
Yeah. Funny enough, I'm going Saturday to see this movie, and they're having a live orchestra play the soundtrack while you watch the movie.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Awesome.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, I mean, do we really have to say anything else? It's Back to the Future. This has to be S tier, like best time travel movie, best like 80s movie with all the cool references, skateboarding, like
Mhm,
the Walkman, the Darth Vader, like he's in the atomic suit, like so many
mhm.
great lines from it. I just feel like you gotta love this movie. Like it's gotta be S tier, right?
I don't know.
I agree.
What do you say? Do you agree?
I
What do you
agree, S
say,
tier.
Keith? S tier? Do you have any
Two
memories of
S's.
this movie?
It's awesome. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch
Okay.
this every day and enjoy it. Like Russ said, it's got so much to it. So great. It's such a great movie. And I just love Michael J. Fox as an actor. So yeah, S tier for me, for
And
sure.
we
Okay.
even said that me and Keith actually got to go see Doc Brown's house when we were in California. So we took a couple pictures in front of it, and it was just
Mhm.
like, this is awesome to be here and experiencing this.
Yeah.
So I made notes for some of the movies, to remind me some certain aspects of it. I have no notes for Back to the Future.
No notes necessary.
S tier. We're going to S tier. It's
Where we're
very
done, we don't need notes.
There we go.
Let's go on to the second one. We got Better Off Dead. Do you guys remember this movie?
This is one I've never seen.
This is with John Cusack.
Mhm.
Russ, you know this movie because this is the famous "I want my $2" movie.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like that scene and the ending scene is just, top tier, like,
Yeah.
80s, like, "What is this going on?" I haven't seen it recently. I
Mhm.
watched the trailer, but I definitely remember watching it, and John Cusack's great in it for sure. He's basically going up against this other guy that's, like, trying to take his girl, I guess, right?
Yep.
He's
Mhm.
down on his luck, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of scenes where he's, like, trying to off himself almost in, like, a comedic way, if you
I
could
mean, it's a John
imagine
Cusack
that.
movie. That's every John Cusack movie. Let's call it for what it is. He's always down on himself in every single movie he's in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it
Also, you know who else was in this movie? An actor named Curtis Armstrong, who you
okay.
know as Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. You remember that? He was
I
like one
did
of
see
his
that in the
friends.
trailer.
Okay.
Yes. He was the
Nice.
one, like, cheering him on when he was going down the ski and, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that guy.
yeah, yeah. So, I based my ratings on nostalgia,
Okay.
how fun it is to go back to, and just, like, the overall experience of what it is now versus what it was. Nostalgia-wise, I remember watching it quite a few times when I was younger. Haven't watched it in a while. I went back, watched the trailer, kind of saw some elements, and compared to some of these other movies, that's what I'm also trying to do is compare them to these other movies where they would sit.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to give this one, what did I say? I'm gonna give this one a C
Oh,
for
that
Ooh.
low.
kind of average.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was probably leaning towards the B with it, but
Okay.
I
Put it
can
right between the
s
2.
I could see it being a C, just meh.
Yeah.
It's got its
Meh.
moments, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
like I
So what
said,
about you?
I haven't gone back to it, like, I've seen it
Right.
and then I was kinda good, so I
It's
could see
not
that.
one of those that like you're is on the top of your head for going back to.
Yeah,
I'll say this, if I'm talking about a John Cusack movie, I'm thinking of One Crazy Summer. That's my go-to John Cusack movie. So,
okay,
what do you think, Keith? What do you rate in this
All I
one?
did was watch a trailer, so this is just based off the trailer. It's one that I would be interested in watching, so
Okay.
I will leave it to you guys to decide. It's one I would be interested in watching, but I
Ooh,
can't give
that's
it a rating
interesting.
just because I haven't seen it. So you
gotcha.
Okay.
guys decide.
What do you think? What do you think, Russ? Should we go
Um,
between B or C? What do you think?
well, since there's no halfway, we'll go C.
We'll go C. So you're kind of on the lower end of the B,
Yeah,
so to
yeah, I'd say
speak.
so.
Okay. Next one, we're gonna skip this other one, this first one that because I want to talk about that one. Actually, I'm gonna move this to the end.
Okay.
Uh Brewster's Millions. Do you guys remember this one?
Mm-mm.
I know
Nope.
Keith has. So Keith, why don't you
I
tell us
do.
about this one?
Yeah. So this one has got Richard Pryor in it. It's also got John Candy in it, who's an amazing actor. He was such a great actor, right? And Richard Pryor is a baseball player that finds out that his uncle is giving him $300 million, but the catch is he either gets like $1 million and that's it, or he can get $30 million that he has to spend within 30 days. But he can't buy property. There's all these rules to it. He can't damage anything and have to pay for it or damage what he buys. He can't give like 5% to charity and he can waste 5% on gambling. It's got Richard Pryor in it and he's hilarious. There's actually a few movies I think it's based on a book. A few
Mm,
movies based on it, but
Okay.
it's hilarious, like, to the point that John Candy's character, I think Spike is his name, actually is,
okay.
like, making investments and making money, so he's having a tough time getting rid of it, and he's gotta keep the whole
Yes.
thing a secret. If he tells
Yeah.
anybody that that's what he's
Oh, okay.
doing,
Yeah.
he loses it all, right? So,
Right.
it's
He tells
really
John
funny.
Candy's character because he's one of his best friends.
Yeah.
But then he goes around and he talks to people on the street. Hey, who wants lunch? I'm buying everybody lunch, or like stuff like that. And Keith is correct. He has to spend $30 million within a certain amount of time, I believe.
Yeah,
and if he
30 days.
does that, then he gets 300
Three
million dollars.
300,000,000, yeah.
I
So it's
mean,
And if he
wild.
doesn't,
that's a lot for back then too, right?
if he still has
Absurd
money at
amount.
the end of the 30 days, he gets nothing.
Right.
So,
Okay,
like, he has to spend this money in a game. There's all these rules to it.
It's a
There's, like
weird
it
concept.
interesting.
is.
Okay,
There's all
very
these
80s.
lawyers that are, like, deciding if what he's doing is he can do or can't do. So he goes to do something, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not gonna count, so you can't do that."
Right.
But
Right. So
and
what
just
do you rate in
too
this?
hilarious.
It's super funny.
It's definitely not Back to the Future. If I'm setting Back to the Future as my S,
Yeah.
Right.
it's probably based on the other movies on here, I would say it's
Mhm.
maybe a B, maybe a B. I wanna push to an A, but I would say a B.
Okay. How about you, Russ?
I go B. I feel like that's safe. Richard Pryor's definitely funny. John Candy, the concept
Yeah.
sounds pretty wacky, so I'd give it a go. We'll go
Yeah.
B sounds fair. It's in the
And
middle.
I am in agreement with you guys as well. I would say B as well. So B tier is where Brewster's Million goes to. All right, the next one, classic Chevy Chase. We got all of those vacation movies, right? Well, this year in 1985, the National Lampoon's European Vacation came out. And I'm going to say this right off the bat, one of my favorite vacation movies. I don't know
Wow.
about you guys. Yeah, what do you guys
Alright.
think?
Jeez. Honestly, I watched the trailer and I was like, eh, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's hitting. When did Christmas Vacation come out? Before
Oh, that
this?
wasn't until the 90s.
That was
After
way
this
out.
one,
Okay. So I
yeah,
feel
because
like
it
maybe
was
Yeah.
they're still catching their like formula, maybe. I don't know.
like,
Okay.
Vacation, the first one is awesome. This one, if I'm basing a vacation movie, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I'd probably watch this one last." It's the last one I would think I would pick
Okay.
to watch out of
Interesting.
the group of them, right? Oh, no, change that, scratch that. The newest one, that very that new one where that one's last on my list. Throw
What's the
that in the
newest one?
Like
Uh,
2024 or something, or like
yeah, like 2020 or 2018 or something like that. There's a new
this
one
one that came
that's
out.
got yeah, it's got
After Vegas Vacation?
yeah, and it's like there's the son's family. The son takes like
Oh.
Rusty or whatever, but it's
Oh, I did see that. Yes. Yes.
yeah, it's got like
Yeah,
is it
with
Christina
the guy
Applegate?
from The Office.
Yeah, yeah,
Ed
um,
Helms.
So stay away
yeah.
from that one.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
Ed
throw that
Helms
one
and
back.
Christina Applegate, right?
This one is definitely better than that, but this one's definitely
I
not one
will
of the
say
best.
I feel like they probably had a blast filming this because it looked like all the stunts and fun stuff they were doing. I was like, that's probably really fun filming.
Yeah.
It is pretty wild. Um, what did you guys rate it?
Not not really seeing it. I'd probably go C with it
Okay.
just because I feel like Christmas Vacation is just so up there,
Okay, so
even though this came
you're
before.
comparing it to the other ones.
Yeah.
You know who's also in this movie? William Zapka, who plays Johnny in Karate Kid. He
Oh,
plays
okay,
he
okay.
plays what's the daughter's name? Oh my god, why can't I think of the daughter's name in Vacation? I don't know.
I only remember Russell
You
because
guys, yeah, Russell. Yeah, right. But anyway, it play he plays her boyfriend.
okay.
Yeah. So I give this a B tier. I remember watching this movie over and over and over and over again. I love this movie, so I'm going B.
I would I would agree. It's a B. If this was Vegas Vacation or Christmas Vacation, I would give it an A, possibly an S, but European Vacation, I give it a B.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, I feel like
I
that's
guess
good.
I guess we're going B then.
Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
2 against 1. All right,
Russ hasn't
so
seen it, right?
I mean,
So
I just watching the
right,
trailer. Yeah.
right,
yeah.
right. So the next one is a classic. We talked last week a little bit about how the 80s had a lot of movies with kids and like little groups of kids that went around and just had adventures of a lifetime. So the next one on the list is the movie Explorers. And this one has a very young Ethan Hawke as well as River Phoenix. So the premise of this movie is basically they're little scientists and they figure out a way how to like float in the air or something. So they end up making a spaceship out of a carnival ride and then taking an adventure into space. It's pretty wild. It's super fun. I mean, what kid in the '80s growing up didn't wanna, like, adventure out, build a space shuttle, and just
Yeah,
take
yeah,
off?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
super, super fun movie, I say. What did you see it, Russ?
No, so I watched the trailer on this one and never been on my radar. Never heard of this
Wow.
one. First time seeing the trailer, and I was like, okay, it's kind of a cool concept. They
Mhm.
put like they got the montage of putting all these parts together in their basement, and then they
Yep.
invent something like you said, and then they go to the junkyard, and I was like, okay. I was like, and I want to say, did Disney put this out? I know one of them. I was like, oh, Disney was behind this. Maybe it's not this movie.
I'm not 100% certain, I'd have to
Okay,
look that up.
it might have been one of the other ones, but it looks like a fun concept. I mean, I'd be interested in checking it out.
Okay, cool. How about you, Keith?
This is one that I think I've seen, but I don't know for sure. I thought there was another movie that is similar to this one that it might have been that I watched, and they, like,
Okay.
make this spaceship type thing. I watched the trailer, it definitely looks like one I would want to watch, so
Mhm.
I again, based on the trailer, like Russ said, looks like it would be interesting.
Okay.
So
So
we're relying on you,
how would you
David.
rate it?
Right. We'll
This is
we'll
just all
defer.
on me.
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards a B,
Okay.
depending
Yeah,
on
I
what,
would probably
because
lean
Dave's
based on
like
the
S
trailer, I would
tier.
lean towards a B. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not go S tier. I'm gonna
Right.
be
Right.
like I said, the way I don't know if a lot of our viewers know me all that well just yet, but I am a very big movie buff. I consider myself to be a movie guy, especially for these retro movies that came out when I was growing up. I spent a lot of time like there were uh, I would say 17 out of the 20 movies that are on this list I've seen. And that was before I talked to Keith and Russ, where we kind of fudged them a little bit, where we ended up putting on some that only they've seen and I missed out on. Before that, I couldn't believe how many movies I saw from 1985. That being said, I'm looking at them also from like cinematic standpoints,
Hmm.
camera shots. I work on movies, so like I kind of have that visual of what is very interesting as far as story, as far as cinematography, soundtrack, all that. I rate this one at a B.
Okay. I
So
think we're both in
B
agreement with
then.
that.
we're gonna go to the B tier. All right. So the next one on the list is a movie with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry, who you guys know from Home Alone 2. He played the concierge guy, like at the the boss at the hotel. He plays this huge demon character. This is totally a like sci-fi fantasy adventure movie, and that is the movie Legend. Have you guys seen this at all?
Oh
No.
yeah,
You've seen this? Do you have any
I've seen it.
memories
Yeah,
of it?
I feel like this was something that my dad probably rented, right, and then I was kind of watching bits and pieces of it, but I
Mhm.
definitely distinctly remember it. I mean, the devil character stands out
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much, in fact, that I don't know if you guys remember, but during COVID, there was a commercial, I think, for Tinder, and it had that devil in it.
Oh, I
Do you
think I
remember this?
remember that. I think I do remember
Hmm.
that.
So I was like, wow. Like it was
Wow,
like,
that's
hey,
a throwback,
it's
yeah.
hard dating during COVID, da, 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 and it had the devil.
Yeah. Wow, I forgot about that.
And I think it's an awesome, like, whoever did costume design,
Oh, yeah,
fantastic. Like,
for sure.
so great. And it has that whimsical feel. Definitely a classic for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember anything about it, Keith?
All I did was watch the trailer on this one, and that
Okay.
devil creature definitely stood out to me. That looked really, really cool. This one looks like it would be super cool to watch. If you guys haven't seen this and you're listening or watching, definitely check out the playlist and definitely check out, yeah, that devil there, the great big horns.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out, I think, because it looks like it would be an interesting one. I'm excited to see what you two are going to rate it as, and that will decide for me if it's one I'm gonna hunt down to really watch.
I couldn't believe watching it that it was Tim Curry because first off, it doesn't look anything like him, right?
Right,
He
right,
was in
right.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. He was in Home Alone. I mean,
He
he's
was well,
so
funny
well
enough fitting,
known.
he was in It, right?
That's true. He played
He
the
Yeah,
played
clown.
It. So,
Yeah, Pennywise. Yeah.
a lot of
Uh,
range.
s- so what do you think, Keith? What would you rate based on the trailer?
Based on the trailer, it looks a little cheesy, but it still looks good at the same
Okay,
time, so I would
sure.
probably land at B or C, but
Oh,
not
interesting.
watching
Okay.
it and having both of you guys watched it, I would kinda leave
Okay.
it to you guys, I think, for that
Okay.
based on trailer. B or C, it's one I would probably look for. Again, I'm interested to see what you guys rate it at. That might change what I think.
Okay. What do you think, Russ?
I feel like I'm leaning towards an A
Okay.
since I haven't gone back to it over and over again. So I feel like I couldn't put it at the S tier, because
Sure.
how I
Oh, so
fell in love
you
with
would
Back
you
to
would
the
be
Future.
that high.
I think just because of, like, how distinct, like, that devil is, like, again, costume
Right.
design so spot on. You got
Sure.
Tom Cruise in it, like, like,
Mhm.
a all-star cast for sure,
Yeah. Do you know who else is in it?
probably, but
Who plays the girl?
no.
The
Val
girl is
Kilmer?
played yeah, nice try. Although, it is somebody from one of our Name That Quotes this week. It is Mia Sara, who played Sloane in Ferris Bueller.
Oh,
There you
So
go.
she is the love interest, so to speak, in the movie Legend. I would go A tier on this one.
Okay.
So I think
our
we're
first
kind of in agreement.
first A, and I might actually have to hunt this down to watch.
Yeah, this is I'm gonna be honest with you. I was actually at a B, but once we started talking about it and me visualizing it in my head, I think I might go ahead and watch it again tomorrow. So I'm gonna go A tier. Russ is gonna go A tier. We're all gonna go A tier. All
I
right.
think it sits there good.
Okay. Now, the next one, I'm not sure if you guys have seen. Uh, I remember watching this quite a bit when I was younger. It's called Just One of the Guys. Do you guys know anything about this movie?
I I watched the trailer and I was like,
Okay.
I could see this being a total 85.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I would say the
Yep.
same thing. Yeah.
I feel like I seen it, but, like, I can't remember though. Like, if it's
Okay.
just, like, bits of some other movies or this and that. It has a fun concept, I would say. A
Okay. So
little spin on it.
the story about this basically is uh there's a girl that she is a reporter and she's not being taken seriously, right? So she wants to be taken seriously. So she kind of goes undercover and wants to be just one of the guys. So she basically cosplays, or I don't know what you want to call it. She dresses up as a guy, she acts like a guy, she goes to school as a guy, she gets introduced as a guy, she makes friends as a guy, she lives as a guy. And, she ends up falling in love with somebody, and then there's all this other stuff going on, and her brother knows that she's, her brother's behind it too. Um, William Zabka is actually also in this movie too. He was quite busy in these years. He was, like I said before, Johnny from Karate Kid.
Well,
Um,
I was gonna say that when I watched the trailer, there's, like, a quick clip it and, like, so, like, there's girls that are getting attracted to her because they think
yes,
she's a guy, and
that's
sh
yes.
they're like, he's a little Danny Russo, like,
Yeah,
Karate
yeah,
Kid,
Yeah.
like
yeah. Yes, that's true. That is an actual quote from it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, so based on the trailers that you guys watched, how would you guys what would you guys think about this movie?
I'll let Keith go.
I I'd go B or C again,
Okay.
just based on the trailer. I mean, looks like it could be interesting, could be funny, but at the same time, looks like it might be very 85. So,
Okay.
yeah, B or C.
All right. How about you, Russ?
I feel like this probably set the groundwork for, like, future movies, right? That
Sure.
took this concept and kinda put a spin on it and this and that. Um, It looks like a fun one. I'd probably watch it once. I don't know if I
Okay,
would go back to it. It's probably
sure.
one of those one and done, so it'd probably be closer to a C for me, I
Okay,
think.
okay. For me personally, it's a toss up between B and C to me. I might lean more towards the end of B. So that being said, where were you, Keith? Remind me again. Were you at a
I would
C?
say B or a C. I would lean if it was just based on the trailer, I would lean really close to a C, so I would say C.
Okay. So I think the consensus with all of us will probably rate it around a C.
Like, would I
Looks
pick
good there.
something else on the list first? Probably. So
Same,
that
same. I feel the same way. It is a great, fun movie to watch, but I think I'm in agreement with Russ. It's one of those movies you don't really need to watch over and over again. I mean,
Right,
it's
right.
obviously a comedy, and I feel like that's kind of like a comedy thing where you kind of get your fix the first time, and then you don't necessarily have to go back to it unless you're, you know, laughing your butt off on it. So we'll
It's
go
the
see.
what was the movie with Drew Barrymore? That's literally the same thing. She's a reporter and she goes to high school and poses as a high
Oh,
school student.
yeah,
oh,
I feel like
is that
there's a
just been kissed?
yes.
yeah,
And
there's a
because then
few of
she's
them that I feel are like that.
right. So I'm like getting those vibes with it where
Yeah.
it's like,
Sure, sure, sure. Okay. So
fair
let's
enough.
move on to the next one. The next one is a retro cart collector pick to add to this list. It is Mad Max. What is it? Thunderdome?
Beyond the
Beyond
Thunderdome.
Thunderdome?
You know why I
Yeah,
picked this one? Is because 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. That's Thunderdome.
it is it
That's how
is
this
true.
goes.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Nice,
So what
This
do
nice.
you think,
one
Keith? Tell us all about it.
this one is the second one in the Mad Max series, I believe.
That is correct.
This one, he is kind of wandering through the wasteland, ends up at Bartertown. Bartertown is kind of up on the surface, and it's run by Tina Turner, which is crazy
That's
that
yep.
Tina Turner is running it.
Mhm.
Um, and then underneath it, there's the underworld or something like that they call it, and it's run by um, a little person that goes by the name of Master, and he rides on this great big um, character called Blaster. So together they're Master Blaster, and they run all of the. I think they're farming pigs for methane to supply Bartertown, and Mad Max rolls in. They see that he's this great fighter, so they try to. Tina Turner's character tries to get Mad Max to challenge Blaster Master for control of whatever. So then 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, and they find out that Blaster is actually has like a learning disability, like is a someone of that
Mhm.
um nature. So he won't kill him. So they end up killing him anyways. And she takes over. And then all of a sudden, like that part of the movie ends, and all of a sudden he's walking across the desert and finds this oasis with all these kids that were basically orphaned in a plane crash. And then there's a whole different movie we're into. And then they
Interesting.
go back to Bartertown, and
Wow.
then they take over, they
What's
save Master, and then they go away in a Road Warrior style way. I guess this is the third
Wow.
one in the Mad Max series. So the first one's
Is
Mad
it?
Max. Yeah, the second one's Mad Max Road Warrior, and the third one is
Oh,
Beyond the Thunderdome. Yeah. So
interesting. I didn't know about that second one.
yeah, it's a good one. I
So I watched the
I
trailer
this
and I watched the first trailer and I also watched this trailer. And this movie, from what I see, is far different from the original.
oh yeah.
It's so far different. So much that I would prefer this movie, the Beyond Thunderdome.
over
It's
the
more
original?
of yeah, it's more of the first movie kind of also
Over
reminded me of Death Proof. I don't know if
sorry,
you guys have ever
the
seen
original or
the
Mad Max the
original
Road Warrior?
original.
Yeah, the original is definitely much different for
Yes.
sure.
And so this one reminds me more of like the newer movies, right? Like where
Yeah.
they kind of went off in that direction. After watching the trailer, I would totally watch this. You know, it's funny. I actually have this on VHS, and I think the reason I bought it on the VHS is not only that I know that it's a classic movie, but the artwork. Russ, do you have the poster that we can show people?
That one
It's
here? This one? Oh, no,
no.
maybe they
One
just
next to it there, I think, with
like
the
that one,
kids, that
right?
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah,
looking.
it's Mad Max and Tina Turner with a bunch of, like, teenagers dressed like desert dwellers walking in front, and then a bunch of
Yeah,
vehicles, Road
Yeah,
Warrior
the
style
yeah,
vehicles across the bottom.
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, Cinematically, I mean, what do you think about it, Keith? Because I haven't seen it through, so
I I like it, it's just the I remember watching it as a kid and the breakup between the 2, like, story arcs almost that happen and then coming back together, it seems a little slightly disjointed to me.
okay,
Still good, just seems a little disjointed, like, after they exile Mad Max, they put him on the horse and send him out to the desert, and then when the horse collapses, then he gets up and frees himself, and that's when the next half of the story starts, which that seems a
okay,
little disjointed, but
okay. Can we please stop talking about horses on this podcast? It's just upsetting me. Russ, have you seen it?
I
I haven't seen this one, so
Okay,
I'll defer
okay,
to you guys. I feel like it'd be something I'd be into, so I'd
yeah,
probably just go B rating with it.
sure, same. Okay. So
I would
Keith,
give it an
you make
A.
the call.
I would give
Okay,
it an A, but low A. I would lean maybe towards a B, but I mean, yeah, I would give it a B based on the other movies we're gonna look at. And I give it a B.
perfect. Okay, great. All right, next one is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Have you guys seen this movie?
Oh yeah,
Never
yep.
seen it.
Okay, cool.
Never seen
It's
it.
so I'm just gonna get right to it. Obviously, it's the sequel to the Nightmare on Elm Street series, right? What I'm gonna say is it's not gonna beat Freddy 3. It's not gonna beat Nightmare 3, The Dream Warriors. That is my favorite of the entire series of Freddy movies. So what do you guys think of based on that? You've all seen it. What do you
I
think?
haven't. I have not seen it at all.
Oh, you haven't seen it. Oh, okay.
Not a
Have you seen any of the
single
Nightmare movies?
Especially
not a single one. No.
doesn't
Did you
even
watch
know
the
who Freddy
trailer?
is.
I know who Freddy is. I did not watch the trailer. I wanna sleep tonight.
Oh, okay. Russ. All right, we're gonna block out Keith here. So
Fair
Russ,
enough.
it's
Fair
between
enough.
you and me. What are you thinking?
With the trailer, it really amps it up. I feel like with him coming out, having the success for the first one, and you're like,
Yeah.
how they cut the trailer definitely seems it to me, knowing what the movie's about. I feel like the trailer almost misleads you a little bit, right?
Okay.
But I think it's still a good movie. It's a good
Sure.
one for sure.
Sure.
Still, great kills in it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
What are we gonna rate it?
B B
Uh,
C.
I agree. I agree. B. Well, I guess we'll go B.
We'll go B.
Okay, we'll go B. All right. Now the next one, I don't know if you guys have seen. It is actually Jim Carrey's very first movie. It's called Once Bitten. Have either of you guys seen this movie?
I have not
No.
So when
Okay.
watched the
I
trailer.
watched the trailer, I
Okay.
feel like I remember seeing it. Where I was
Yes,
like,
it's a
okay, I've
very
seen
yes.
parts of this, and I was like, oh, that is Jim Carrey, and
Yeah.
I was like, definitely 80s, like,
Sure.
vampires are big. You got all those Fright Night,
Mhm.
Lost Boys, and all that. So they're like, all right, let's do vampire, but like comedy with it. So you get a
Yeah.
sexy vampire lady, like, okay.
Right.
So
Basically, the sexy vampire seduces Jim Carrey. He has a girlfriend, and the whole movie, he's kind of like getting very close to this vampire, and he starts turning into a vampire. So he asks for like raw meat to eat. He's starting to look the part where he's slicking his hair back, his face is getting pale, and it's basically like a transformation into a vampire. And that's as far as it goes, basically. I'm not going to spoil the movie, so you guys can watch
yeah,
it if you want to, but that's essentially what the movie is. Um, Based on that, um, I'm giving it a C,
yeah, I feel like that's pretty where it is. Looking at the other ones there, C's
especially
good.
with like the cinematography of it and just like based on the movies that are on this list.
Yeah,
I can't compare this to Back to the Future. There's no way. So I'm going C tier. An agreement, Russ, for that?
Yeah.
Perfect. How about you, Keith?
I just watched the trailer, so I will go with that as well.
Great. Okay. All right. Next one was one of our Name That quotes this week. Pee Wee's Big Adventure turning 40 years old
Nice.
this year. Um, Pee Wee Herman's first movie as Pee Wee, if I'm not mistaken. You guys should know all this movie, but for those that don't, Pee Wee goes on a big adventure. He Francis, his friend, uh, ends up stealing his bike, and he goes on an adventure to try to find the bike. And Francis sells the bike and he goes cross country looking for this bike. He brings the whole community together. It's a wild ride. There's so many memorable characters in this, so many memorable locations that they filmed at. This is the famous movie where they talk about the basement in the Alamo. They go there's so many things about this movie to talk about. Um so what do you guys think? You guys seen this movie?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yep.
would. It's good. It's enjoyable. I was never into Pee Wee's Playhouse, so I think it's enjoyable. I would
Okay.
probably shoot like probably a probably a B or an A.
B or an A, okay. So
Yeah,
you're like low A, high B?
Yeah, yeah.
low
Okay.
A, high B. I'd probably go A with it.
Okay. So I'm going S tier.
Yeah.
Oh,
I probably could see that.
I'd go S tier,
This
but
doesn't surprise me.
because of A and B, with you guys, we'll shoot it at an A.
okay. Put it in an A.
'Cause I think that that's a good, if you're at a B and an A, then yeah, I think we're good at that. Another pick by Keith for this list was Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Okay.
I
Dose.
have not seen this movie. Keith, take it away.
It's the second Rambo movie. Big change from the first one. The first one was kind of looking at, you know, the people coming back from Vietnam and how they were thinking and acting and all that stuff. This one just turns into an action movie. Rambo gets out of prison. They pardon everything from the first one, send him off to save POWs. There's some interesting twists in this one. This is a pretty good action movie. It's maybe not the best Rambo, but this
Okay.
is a classic Rambo action movie. It brings us the Rambo that we all kind of remember. So I think I'd
What would
probably
be like
give
the
this.
best Rambo for you? Just for reference.
Oh,
I've only
it
seen
might
like
actually.
1 or 2.
It's probably this one. To be honest with you, it's probably this one.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Thinking about it, yeah, this one really jumps into the action. So,
I say the
Okay,
first
great.
one is
anyone else seen
very
this one?
slow paced
Yeah,
to get to the action.
yeah. Has anyone else seen this one?
I have not seen this one. However, I watched the trailer earlier,
Okay.
okay? Now, I don't know if you guys watched the trailer or not.
I didn't know.
You did not. Okay, so the trailer, I was dying the first 20 seconds into because it's this super close up of his muscle and
Yeah,
like all of the, like texture and all of the shadows of his muscle.
yeah.
And
It's
the
super
camera,
80s macho.
but wait a minute, but the camera pans down and the camera's picture this in your head. There's super tight shots on his muscle. I'm sorry guys, I have no reference to show you. Uh it's a slow camera shot going down his arm to his hand where he's aggressively tying his shoe, and that's where we start the trailer.
Yeah,
And I just I was like, "Wow, that's a way to start a Rambo trailer, just
macho action,
If
aggressively
that's not
tying his
80s, then
shoe."
right? Have you seen this one, Russ?
my dad definitely would rent movies like this on the weekend when I was there. So I've seen it, but definitely can't place it.
Okay.
So I can't weigh too much into it. So I'd probably go C, B in that
Okay.
area.
I'm going A because it is the almost like pinnacle of 80s action movie.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
What kind
Well,
of brought it all.
I've only seen the trailer. I did see like the later Rambo movies. Um, However, I'm gonna defer this one completely to Keith because after watching the trailer to this movie, I'm not really that big into like all of the action and guns and like military and all those kinds of movies. So maybe a toss up. So I think maybe we landed in a B tier. I think we should be good.
Yep, bring her B.
Cool. All right.
And then
Well,
directly into another
another
Stallone
Stallone
movie.
movie. One thing about these 1985 movies, there's multiple movies with the same actors. Like actors were busy in 85. There's multiple Chevy Chase. There's multiple Michael J. Fox. There's multiple Sylvester Stallone. So Rocky 4, guys, is our next one.
Okay.
Best Rocky movie out of all of them. I don't care what
Yep.
anybody says. It is the top one of all of the movies. What do you
Okay.
guys think?
I mean, yeah, he basically single-handedly ends the Cold War. So yeah, it's one of the best ones for sure.
It is true. That is true. Do you guys have any memorable like scenes or anything from it? Because I feel like this
The
is the movie of
Yeah, yeah.
montage.
I said
Yeah, it's definitely
the
got the
training
best
scene.
montage.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love going seeing, how the Russians training, and then you go to Rocky and he's in, the like woods or whatever doing his
Right.
easy stuff like, all right, let me
In the
no machines
snow.
for me. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely
And
good.
then the soundtrack is killer. I mean, he
Okay.
has to avenge his buddy Apollo Crews, who gets
Yes.
killed by the Russian in the ring. And then he has this big blow up with Adrian about how he has to fight. And it's a wild movie when you think about it. There's so many layers to this movie. I'm going S tier.
Yeah, I feel like we gotta get some more S tiers on there, right? So I feel like this
Yeah, I would
fits the
agree.
bill for sure.
I would agree just because it is the most probably one of the most memorable Rocky movies there is. Yeah.
For sure.
What's next? What we
100%.
got next?
Next up, we've got Keith's favorite, St. Elmo's
Oh,
Fire.
Oh, okay. I didn't see
Keith,
this
tell,
one.
tell us about the movie,
I
Keith.
made it like halfway through it and I shut it off, to be honest with you. I did actually try to watch it for this tier list and I made it like halfway through and I was like, this is super 80s and super John Hughesy.
Now,
Shut
why?
it off.
Okay, so this movie, Russ, have you seen it?
No, just the trailer.
Okay,
I feel like it didn't interest me.
No,
so
it
this
didn't
movie
the
is
trailer didn't
basically
interest me either.
yeah. So this movie is basically a group of friends who go to St. Elmo's, which is like their pub, I guess, and there's a lot of moving pieces to these characters. You guys got to watch. There's a video out there that I watched that kind of explains the whole movie, which made it hilarious about how it stands up. Maybe we'll leave that video in the comments to the podcast so you guys can check it out. But it's a very good, fun explanation of it. I feel, me personally, comparing them to the movies on this list. I mean, you got a killer cast with this, right? You got the Brat Pack, and you guys all know the Brat Pack. If you don't, who is it? It's all the guys from the Breakfast Club. It's Rob Lowe. Uh, it's a crazy cast. For me personally, I would probably rate this as a C tier.
Okay.
I would be at a C tier for this one.
I feel like that's probably where
I don't know what I would give a D, but definitely C.
Okay, so we're in agreement that
Oh,
because
wait,
there.
no, I do know what. I do know what I would give a D. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, we're we're going to the next one. But let me just add, the reason that I'm also putting this on C is because there is another John Hughes movie that is on this list that deserves better. So the next movie we're moving into is a Star Wars spin-off movie, and that is the Ewoks. What is it called?
Battle
Ewoks:
for
The
Endor.
Battle for Endor. This
ugh.
is basically the sequel to the first one that because they released two of them, one in
Yeah.
84 and one in 85.
Battle for
Um,
Cringe is what this one is.
you think so, huh?
Uh,
You don't have any memories of this?
how does it even make sense? It's supposed to be canon. and Wicket can speak English. And then Return of the Jedi happens, and he's looks at Princess Leia's like, "Grub glub? What? Doesn't even make sense. Get out of
Glub
here
What
with
did
that
glub.
D
wait, what did he say?
I don't know, a glub glub or something. I don't know what Wicket says."
Alright, I just wanted someone to clip that for us. Okay, so what do you think of, what do you okay, so we already know your opinion. I mean, look at the poster, guys.
The
The
poster
poster
does
is
go hard.
crazy.
Poster
It
goes
does
really
go
hard.
hard. Yeah. So what do you think, Russ? Do you have any memories of this movie?
I have no memories of seeing this movie. I watched the trailer today,
Okay.
and I feel like they're, like George Lucas or like Disney, this and that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel like this could be the way it's done, like in like a TV show, like Star Trek. You would watch like a 45-minute episode of that. Like I feel like it
Okay.
doesn't have the power that the original movies had
Okay.
Well, technically, I think in some countries it was released, like,
in
as a
theaters.
movie in theaters,
Okay,
and, like, here it was, like, TV, right? I think we could have
okay,
watched both of
Yeah,
okay.
it, but
I
it
believe this
never
was a made for TV, yeah.
yeah, I don't think it had the theatrical release, but
Okay.
Right. So what do you think, Russ, based on that? Would you go see it?
I'd watch it once.
Okay.
I'd
Just to
say,
watch it.
yeah, just to be like, let's see what the story is. Like,
This
why not?
exists.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go deep. Maybe I just lean. What do we have in our C tiers here? I go with. Is it similar to these here? Yeah, I guess it kind of holds up to there. Better Off Dead's in there. Just one of the guys. Those are kind of the one-off movies. I'll watch them once and then that's it. I feel
Yeah,
like D is like, I won't even give it a chance.
right. That's this now, you made a good point about looking at this list. Now that I'm looking at the C tier, I feel that it might be lower than these movies based on
yeah.
because I mean, if you watch the trailer too,
Mhm.
the special effects look better in the original Star Wars than they did in this movie,
Right, right,
right? And this movie came out what, like 8 years later?
right. That's why I'm like, it feels like maybe they just had a TV show budget or like what
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So what are you thinking, Keith?
D all day.
All right. We're giving the Ewoks the D. All right. Moving on. All right. Next one, another Michael J. Fox movie, guys. Teen Wolf. You want to? I mean, I know you've seen this, Russ. You want to take it?
I haven't seen it in quite some time, but
Okay.
let's see if I jump back over to me. Definitely being a big Michael J. Fox fan for sure. I enjoyed him in Back to the Future, and then seeing this, I was like, this movie's cool.
Yep.
Freaking Wolf, he's going to high school. So
Yep.
many memorable scenes. And even playing on that, like, you're a kid in high school and you want to be so much more. I wish people would notice me more and this and that. And when he becomes the wolf, right? He gets that attention. He could get the better girl. He's better at basketball. And it is a movie of him like hitting puberty and coming to age and all that.
Right.
I will say one scene stands out to me is when he was doing the handstand on
Yep.
the while his buddy's riding the van, and you got freaking everybody gone surfing. I
Hmm.
love that scene and would freaking dance in the living room when it came on. Good time.
And he's got a friend named Styles.
Oh,
I mean,
right,
how
right.
cool is that? That's very 80s. You know who's also in this movie, guys? Mark
No,
Holton. You know who Mark Holton is?
no.
No.
That is Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, that's right.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, all of these actors worked
They
Oh,
between
were.
yeah.
84 and 85. It's
Yeah.
crazy. What about you, Keith? You got some memories of this?
The basketball scene.
Which one?
Like when he's
Where
just dribbling and like no,
he does the flip or whatever.
Oh, you know what the basketball scene where he's like getting all like huddled in and then he
Yeah.
just explodes
right, and
as
then
the
and then
wolf?
he's just dribbling and
He's
it's
just
Yeah.
silent.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Great movie. And we had this as a name that quote just a few
Yep.
weeks back. What are you giving it, guys?
I'd say A.
Definitely A, close to an S.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's not
I
quite Back to the Future, it's not quite Rocky, but it's
right.
definitely an A.
Okay. I would go A. So
Okay, so
I think we'll go
average.
A. Yeah, yeah. Definitely better than these movies in the B tiers. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty satisfied with this list so far. The next one is the one that we were talking about, another John Hughes movie, which is The Breakfast Club. Probably the most well-known John Hughes movie that's out there. Um, if you guys don't know the story, I don't know, maybe you've been living under a rock. It's a bunch of, high schoolers that get detention for a Saturday. They got to come into school, but they're all different types of characters. So
Oh, yeah,
there's,
the
you
jock
know,
and
there's the jock, there's the, the prissy, girl, there's the weirdo, there's the, bully,
mhm,
who am I missing? And then there's like the studious kid. Um, and it's basically them just I actually just heard a story about this movie where they were gonna have someone else direct this movie, I believe. Um, and I think if it, don't quote me on this because I did read this recently, and I think this is the truth. John Hughes said that he could do it for less money, and then they ended up doing it and it makes sense because they only had what, 1 or 2 sets, like, within the school,
right, right.
so it really made sense. Um, do you guys have some memories of this movie or memorable scenes?
it's just a classic, I think.
It
It's
is a
Yeah,
classic.
I mean,
like,
definitely remember
that's
watching it.
yeah,
Mhm. What are you guys rating
no,
it?
it's a classic. Russ?
I'm leaning towards a B. I don't know if it's
Okay,
A.
alright.
I would
How about
I would be
go ahead,
A,
Jake.
but I would be probably low A, so B would work.
Yeah. I was around an A tier as well.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
might be a little better than the B tier movies we have already, so it might need to be an A,
Right, right, that's what
just
I'm
based on the
thinking
fact that
is,
it's a
okay,
like,
classic.
I would
yeah,
rather watch this over all of those movies in the B
Yeah,
tier.
yep.
So I guess we're going A.
A it is.
Okay. Got some classics in there. All right. Only a couple left, guys. We got this one needs no introduction, guys. It's the
Just
Goonies.
just put it at
It's
S, come on
it's the
now.
Goonies. Like all I'm gonna say about the Goonies is, and I've said this before, if you guys are just tuning in for the first time, the Goonies is one of those movies where I give a lot of respect to. The cinematics of it is beautiful. The fact that they're a group of kids, if you watch this movie from like a cinematic standpoint, there are so many like what you would call I guess screen grabs or stills from this movie that are so iconic. The four of them kind of looking at the map together,
Right.
uh just the way they're positioned, right? And I feel like the director, I mean, that's got to be challenging in itself to get four characters kind of all doing the scene with uh placement as
Mhm.
well as script, to do their lines. It's it, it's such a good movie that I can go back to over and over again. And the one thing that I really enjoyed about the behind the scenes of this movie is I don't know if you guys know this story, but the kids never saw the pirate ship until they came up from the water.
Right, I
The
did hear that.
director never let them see the ship.
So
They
it'd be
wanted
a
to
genuine reaction.
they wanted to get
You'd
a
be like,
genuine reaction.
"Whoa, like, that's
Yeah.
freaking."
So, I mean, I can't say much more. S tier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, S tier.
I would absolutely. It's such a great movie, just classic,
And so many characters, so many lines, so
right?
many, like, oh my
What
god,
all of us
so
kids
good.
wanted to be able to do when after we watched it, go on that adventure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Did any of you relate to any of the characters?
Data. I
Setting
wouldn't
I don't know
Buddha
say
if
Buddha
related. I
off.
think they all have their own individual
Yeah.
thing that I kind of picked from that I as a kid that I kind of related with. But
Nice. Alright, so moving on to the next one. I don't know if you guys remember this movie. It is a deep cut, but I had to leave it on there because it is, in my opinion, pretty classic. and that
Okay.
is The Legend of Billie Jean. Have
Never heard
either
of
one
this
of you
movie.
seen this?
Never heard of it,
Oh,
Never. It
ever.
has nothing to do with Michael Jackson.
No! I was like, "Where is MJ?"
well, wait a minute. When did that album come out before 85? I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I
Is
don't
this the
know.
is this who he's thinking about?
Maybe.
We'll have to check that out. So this movie, just to give you a short synopsis of, basically Christian Slater and the character that plays Billie Jean, they're brother and sister. They're very low income, and they basically Billie Jean is like hot stuff, right? Like she's like the girl that everyone's dreaming about.
Right.
So from the very beginning of the movie, they make her out to be this sex icon.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so much that like these guys are kind of following her around. They're giving the brother a hard time. They end up stealing her brother's scooter that
Yeah.
they're driving around on. And she goes to get the money for the damages because they get it back, and Christian Slater's character gets beat to hell by these guys. Okay? And long story short, the guy that she goes to get the money from was the bully's dad, and he's being very like creepy. I'm just gonna leave it at that, very creepy. With her, like there's stuff in this movie that you cannot get away with today. Okay, especially with like the age ranges and all that stuff. So anyway, um, basically, what happens during that scene, it's at the very beginning of the movie. Christian Slater goes in to get money from the register, and because they own a store, pulls out a gun that's in the register. The guy comes down with Billie Jean. She's like, "Oh, we got to get out of here." And then the guy says, "Oh, you think I keep a loaded gun in the register?" Christian Slater ends up shooting the guy. And then these guys, all like the friends of Billie Jean, the brother, and them, they all go running. So the whole
Right. They're
movie
on the
is them
run.
on
Yeah.
the run.
Right.
And again, long story short, they end up becoming celebrities, basically. They basically try to fight the good fight, and they're like, "We're innocent," and they become these iconic characters, and they're signing autographs and doing all this stuff. Sorry that I'm frozen, but we're gonna move on. And I feel like it's also a 90-minute movie, that promotes the song "Invincible,"
Okay.
that classic song. So anyway, that's the movie. I liked it. I watched it today, actually. Um,
Fair enough.
I'm I'm giving it a B.
All you, give it a B. Never seen it, never even heard of it.
I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but not as much as like Teen Wolf and all those ones.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. But I would check it out, guys. Sorry to ramble about that. I just really enjoyed it. Okay. One more and then one really quick one. Weird Science. You guys
Weird
see
science.
It's a great one.
it is a great one.
Definitely
Keith, you
wouldn't get
wanna
away with
take
it
it?
nowadays, but,
No.
they use their computer to make themselves their dream girl. 2
It's true.
teenagers, that's that's the whole premise, and then they party away.
I mean,
Can't
it's
get
true.
any
I
better
don't
than
know
that, right?
how else to
That's
explain it,
it.
right?
Yeah. They
I
turn
think it's
their brother into, like, this little alien guy.
yeah, a little troll thing.
Yeah.
It's another
It's a
classic
classic.
one, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So, what do we rate? I mean, there's no other explanation for this movie, so what do we rate it?
I would probably say A. I would probably
Looking at
watch
the
it
list, yeah,
over the
I
Bs. Yeah,
I'd say A.
I am in agreement with you guys, which is
great movie.
an A, an A, all the way. Okay, the last movie, I know we did 20, but I had to add this movie in. Russ, do you know why?
Because Jay always talks about this darn movie on the podcast.
I could
I
not
haven't
leave
seen it.
this out. I could not leave this out in good faith, knowing that Jay. I'm wondering if our voicemail today is about Cat's Eye. I'm just wondering. I did watch the trailer. I have not seen this movie. Did you watch the trailer, Russ?
Yeah, I watched the trailer of it.
Okay. So what did you think on the trailer?
It's got this weird quirks in it. Like I feel like the way Jay described it, the trailer's slightly different, but
Yeah, so I agree with you because I found out that it was Stephen King's first screenplay adaptation, and it compiles 3 stories. So it is not like a full movie, I guess, but it is 3 separate stories within the feature length of the movie.
gotcha.
That being said, I am not really a huge fan of Stephen King movies.
Yeah,
Maybe, like, the only movie that I would consider would be It, or yeah, I think It, right? Because that's a Stephen King movie.
yes.
Um, I think for me, I'm sorry, Jay, I'm going D.
Ooh, that low.
I'm
I wanna
sorry,
hear
Jay,
what
I'm
Jay rates
sorry,
it.
I'm
I think
sorry,
if Jay
I'm
is
so sorry.
listening, I think he needs to call in and tell us what this should be rated.
He may have already called in, we
And we
will
do have
find
a
out soon.
voicemail from
We
him,
do
I
have a
will say.
voicemail.
I don't know if it's pertaining to
I think
that.
we better hear it then.
Did you guys watch, or, so Russ, you watched the
I saw the
trailer.
trailer, I didn't see the
Have
movie.
you
I did
seen the
not watch the
trailer
trailer
or
for
the
this one. I did
You
not
did
watch it.
not.
This
Okay,
is
so
one I
what,
missed.
Russ, based on the trailer, what did you think?
I'd probably go C
Okay,
with it. I feel like it's good for a watch. It's probably got
okay,
some moments in it.
okay. So I'm going to graciously put it in C for the sole reason that I know Jay would rate this higher. So I'm gonna bow down to Jay here, and I'm gonna say, Jay, this is all you. He's probably giving it an S tier. I'm guessing. I don't know. But guys, there's our list. What do you
See
guys
see
think?
if see if you could zoom in on your computer screen there, Dave, I think, so
Can
pull
I?
it up. Yeah, see if you could. It
I
should make it big, I don't know.
I can't. Oh, there
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Look
there
at
you go.
that. And then
Sure,
let's
scroll
move it in here. Look
perfect,
at
there's our
that.
list.
There we go.
So we
So
got
our
3 S
list.
tiers.
I
It
like
all
that
deserves to be
list.
S
I'm not
tier.
gonna lie. I think
Yep.
that list is pretty good.
Ewoks definitely deserves to be a D.
The poor Ewoks. Now I
I
wonder how would that hold up against the Star Wars Holiday Special?
oh
I would
it would
watch
I
the
think it
Star
would
Wars
win it.
holiday special first.
No, no. I do think that the first Ewoks movie was better. I do have
Yes.
more nostalgia to
Yes.
the Ewok
Some of the
adventure.
story in Adventure or Battle of Endor is just bad.
Well, because the adventure is about, like, a brother and sister, is that correct? Is that who they are?
Yeah, it's about a family that I think crash lands on Endor or something like that. This is like direct sequel. And then yeah,
Yeah,
there's
and
some
the Ewoks
I'm not
take
gonna
care of
spoil it.
them.
If you wanna watch it, watch it. I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah.
Guys, it's a Star Wars movie. I mean,
Mhm.
if you like
And you said
space, if you like Ewoks,
we've got
go
a
and do it.
voicemail?
Well, we do have 3 comments I wanna, get to about
Alright.
80s movies kinda in general, so we'll see what they had to say.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
Alright, we had one over on our YouTube community page from Colby, Purge and Splurge Thrifting. He says, "80 movies are some of my all-time favorites. 1985 was a great year. Some bangers came out like The Goonies, Weird Science, Teen Wolf, The Breakfast Club, and of course, Back to the Future. Some real hidden gems through though in the class of 85, and we're definitely not obscure, but often forgotten about. We got Porky's Revenge, Summer Rental, The Sure Thing, Witness, St. Elmo's Fire, Brewster's Millions, Cocoon, Rambo: First Blood Part 2, Ewoks: Battle for Endor, and National Lampoon's European Vacation. So we did mention some of those Gobi on there. Some of these I haven't even heard of either. Summer Rental, never heard of that, or Witness.
Mhm. Yeah, I never heard of those either.
I want to say I did have the wrong. There we go. There's Gobi's wrong thing up on screen where we're looking. And then we had 2 on our Instagram. Let's see.
Okay.
Two. Okay, so we got an Instagram. Tom Ryan says, all I'm gonna say is great Scott. Classic. Ty coming in, Ty's gaming and collections. 1985 was definitely a great year, especially since it was the year I was born.
Mm,
I didn't get to watch these movies on release. I think my 2 favorite movies that I watched much later on during '85 would be Goonies and National Lampoon's European Vacation. So he enjoyed that one as well. And we got Mike said, "I had Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final
mm,
Chapter, and Toxic Avenger. A reboot is coming in August of this year." 1985 had House, Demons, and Day of the Dead.
yeah. Like I said, there were a lot of movies that were on this list that I had to cut. There's
Mhm.
so many movies. And Russ, speaking of which, look what came in the mail.
Oh, mine came in too. We got,
This is an 8-bit soundtrack of Friday the 13th from Shapeshift Records.
and it's got,
Check it
like,
out.
the, teals and purple, pinks, like,
Yeah,
viewing it. I haven't played it yet, but it came in the mail, so
very
excellent.
cool. Is that all
Sweet.
of them?
Yeah, that was all the comments there. I mean, certainly
Great.
again, great movies. Again, these are our personal opinions on the movies, and some of them we didn't get to fully see, so we can add it
Mhm.
to our list to maybe check out in the future. There were some on the list that we had to take off, so maybe we can do a follow-up one, or maybe movies that came out in a different year. So if you guys enjoyed the tier list like this, there's certainly more to come in the future. Certainly love putting these together.